Hello, good morning. Today we are going to discuss about fundamentals of logic. So logic is ancient subject which is developed in ancient Greece, ancient India, ancient China, etc. And throughout the history of mankind, logics play a major role. And nowadays, in our scientific world, the concept of logic has a lot more important role. All the discoveries, all the statements, all the arguments of science and technology is based on the concept of logic. So we start with some fundamental definitions or concepts. Uh, so the first one is what we call as a statement or propositions. So the formal definition, a declarative sentence that are either true or false, but not both, is known as um, a proposition. And a proposition is usually represented by small letters P, Q, R, etc. So if we have a state sentence, then if that particular sentence can be either true or false, then it is known as a proposition or a statement. So here we have some expressions. One is 2 plus 3 is equal to 5 as a mathematical expression, and we know that this expression 2 plus 3 is equal to 5 is a true expression. So it is true. So that mathematical expression is true, and therefore is a proposition. And the second one, the earth is full, earth is flat. So that statement, it is actually a false statement, but uh, there is no confusion regarding the truth value of this particular statement. So it is the statement is a proposition. So if you are confused with the validity of this particular statement, that means if you are arguing that it is flat and you are not confident about your argument, then the nature of Q becomes something else. Anyhow, in our current world, this is a fact. Anyway, it is raining. That statement is also a proposition. It has a truth value, uh, and it can either a true statement or a false statement. Uh, Now, if you consider again some mathematical expressions like p plus q is equal to uh, p plus q, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 2 plus 3 is equal to 2 plus 3 is equal to 6, then this particular statement is false, and that is a proposition. There is no problem while considering this one as a proposition. It's okay. And now uh, we are going to some examples or non-examples or examples of say sentences which are not a proposition. So first one is what a beautiful evening. Actually, it is an explanation sentence. This is not a statement. Technically, we have to put some exclamation marks here. Get up and do your exercise. So again, this is actually it's something like an advice or a command. So that's again, it's not a proposition. We cannot say whether it is true or false. What time is it? Actually, it's the question mark. Here is a question mark. Anyhow, it's a question mark, and it has an answer, but it's not uh, a statement or a sentence or a proposition. No. X plus 3 is a positive integer. So here it contains a variable. If x is say x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 1, x is equal to 2, then all what we get is a positive integer. If x is equal to 3.5, what we get is not an integer. If x is equal to minus 10, then x plus 3 is not positive, it is negative. So the truth value of this particular statement depends on the value of x. So this kind of statements or sentences is not considered as a proposition. Anyway, we will deal with such expressions in our later sessions. But remember that this x plus 3 is a positive integer or x square is an even number. That kind of expressions are not a proposition. Now, primitive and compound statements. A statement which can be broken down into simpler statements is known as a primitive statement, and a statement which can be broken down into simple statement is known as a compound statement. So, if we have a statement such as P is a statement like 2 is even, and another statement like 3 is an odd number, then all these are primitive statements. And if you write a statement like 2 is even and 3 is an odd number, then this one is a statement. Maybe you can written as a statement R, but observe one thing: 2 is an even number and 3 is an odd number can be split into two statements, and this one can be written as P and Q. So if such a breakdown is possible, it's known as a compound statement, and if it is not possible, then we call it as a primitive statement. Now, how we can obtain a compound statement from primitive statements? Anyway, we seen here one example how we can obtain a compound statement. If P and Q are two primitive statements, then we can write P and Q. That's one method of obtaining a compound statement. Anyhow, there are a few methods by which we can obtain compound statement. The first one is by negating given primitive statement. That means it is not the case that P is known as negation. Usually, negation is denoted by the symbol given here. It's negation P. And if P is the statement it is raining, then the negation is it is not the case that it is raining. That's a technical way to write the negation. And if we use the common English, then it is not raining. So if you are dealing with simple statements in a language, then it's okay to write it is not raining. But if you are dealing with proper mathematical statement or a scientific statement, be careful while simplifying it in layman's language or common English. So this is the perfect way. It is not the case that it is raining. That's a perfect way to start with. And now another method by which we can write a uh, compound statement is using either conjunction or disjunction. If P and Q are two primitive statements, then the conjunction is P and Q, P and Q, and disjunction is P or Q. And usually we denote by P and Q symbolically in this way, and P or Q using the notation given here. And some examples: 15 is a positive integer, that's a statement. 15 is an even number, that's another statement or proposition. And anyway, we don't bother about the truth value of this particular statement. 15 is a positive integer is true, 15 is an even number is false. We are not considering about the truth value, we just take two propositions. Then P and Q. 15 is a positive integer and 15 is an even number. We connect to primitive statements using AND connective. And the second case, P or Q, 15 is a positive integer or 15 is an even number. So this is the two methods by which we can connect to primitive statements and by obtain the a compound statement from it. Then another method, another connective is implication. Implication is P implies Q. That's the implication. And here P is known as the hypothesis and Q is known as the conclusion. And usually this connective is written in the form if P then Q, P then Q, P only if Q, P is a sufficient condition for Q, Q is necessary for P. All these are how we express this in our common language. And this means if P then Q. That means if P is true, then Q is true. If P is true, then Q is true. And if P is false, Q can be true or false. And if P is okay, so this is the implication of this connective. If P then Q. If P is true, then Q is true. That's the meaning of the connective. It is known as implication. Now there's another one which is known as biconditional. That is P if and only if Q. Biconditional. So the previous one, the implication P then Q is also known as the conditional connective, and P if and only if Q is known as biconditional. So some example, here sun is shining and humidity is low. Two statements are given, two propositions are given. Then if sun is shining, then humidity is low. If sun is shining, then humidity is low. So that's a type of connective which is denoted by conditional connective or uh, implication. If P exists, then Q exists. And observe one thing, this Q can exist without P. That's possible. Then in the second case, P if and only if Q, sun is shining if and only if humidity is low. So this means if the sun is shining, then humidity is low, and at the same time, if humidity is low, then obviously sun is shining. So if we check the truth values of P and Q, then in conditional statements, P is true, then Q must be true. If P is false, then this value of Q can be either true or false. But in the case of biconditional, if P is true, Q should be true, and if P is false, then Q must be false. So that's the case of biconditional. The so that's our type of conditional connectives. Now we can express the truth values of a statement using either using the letters true or false. A proposition can be either true or false, can be represented using either the letters true or false, or using the numbers 0 or 1. Anyhow, where we are going to use this particular method, we use 1 to represent a true statement and 0 to represent a false statement. So if a statement P is true, then we represent it using 1, and if it is false, then we use 0. So that is how we denote whether a particular statement is true or false. Now, here, if we tabulate all those combinations of a particular statement and a set of statements, then it's known as the truth table. For example, if you have a statement P, then what we have here is the truth table of negation P. If P is false, then negation P is true. If P is true, then negation P is false. So that's the truth value of uh, negation P. So in a similar way, we can form the truth values, truth tables for conjunction, distinction, implication, biconditional, etc. So for conjunction P and Q is true only when P as well as Q is true. So only in this particular case, P and Q is true. And distinction P or Q is P or Q. P or Q is true when either P or Q is true. Here Q is true, so the conclusion is true. Here P is true, so the conclusion is true. Here P and Q are true, so the conclusion is also true. So this is P or Q is false only when P and Q both are false. So this is the only case where P or Q is false. Then next thing is biconditional or implication. So P then Q, the implication or conditional connective P then Q. If P is false, Q can be false, and if P is false, Q can be true. These things are possible. That's okay. There is nothing wrong in that. So the truth value of P then Q is true in those two cases. If the premise is false, then there is no restriction on the conclusion. But if the premises is true, then the conclusion must be true. So if the premises is true, then or P, if the truth value of P is 1, then the truth value of Q must be 1. So 1 1 corresponds to a truth value of 1, but 1 0 is not a valid um, combination of truth values of P and Q. So P then Q has a false truth value here. And P if and only if Q is true only when P and Q have the same truth values. That is, if P is true and Q is true, then P if and only if Q is true. If P is false and Q is false, then P if and only if Q is true. So that's the truth table of the biconditional statements. Then the next one is connective, which is known as the exclusive or, and it is true only when P or Q is true and not both. Means it is true when either P or Q is true but not. So here Q is true, so P exclusive or Q is true, and here P is true and Q is false, then the true value of P or Q exclusive or is 1. and here both are false, then the output is false, and here both are true, or this is the special case here. If both are true, then the output is false. So that's the connectivity is known as exclusive OR. Now, um, so by this way, we can form compound statements from primitive statements. Anyway, a compound statement is known as a tautology if it is true for all truth values assigned for its compound statements. So if you have a general statement, it can be either true or false. And if you write a compound statement using a number of primitive statements, then the truth value of the statement, compound statement, depends on the truth values of each and every primitive statements by which it is formed. For example, if you have two statements P and Q, then the truth value of P and Q, or P and negation Q, is a compound statement, and the truth value of this one depends on the truth values of P and Q. And if you have a compound statement, not this one, a compound statement, and if it is true for all truth values or combinations of truth values of its primitive statements, then that is known as a tautology. And if the compound statement is false for all its primitive statements or truth values of its primitive statements, then it is known as a contradiction. A tautology is usually denoted by T naught, and a contradiction is usually denoted by F suffix 0, F naught. F stands for false or fallacy, and true, T stands for true. And Simple examples, if you consider the statements like P and negation P, or P or negation P. P or negation P, either P or negation P is always true, so its truth value is always true, so it's a tautology. And P and negation P never can be true, so either P or negation P has a truth value of 0. So by observing the table of P and negation P, we can conclude that it is a uh, contradiction. So there are some simple, straightforward examples of tautology and contradiction. Now, two statements, compound statements, are said to be logically equivalent when both the statements provide the same truth value for all choice of truth values for its primitive statements, and we write P is equivalent to, or S1 is equivalent to S2. So here are some examples of statements which are equivalent. So if you have two statements S1 and S2 which are compound statements using the same set of primitive statements, and if one statement, if the truth tables, if you construct the truth tables of those two compound statements, and if the final column of two tables are the same, then they are known as equivalent statements. So here, say if we have two uh, statements or two uh, primitive sentences P and Q, then it can have values 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, or 1, 0, 1, 1. Now, if we construct the truth table of P and Q, P and Q can be 0, 0, 0, 1. Then what if we write the truth value of negation of P and Q. Negation of P and Q is 1, 1, 1 and 0. So, and if you write the truth table for negation P and negation Q, what will be the values? Negation P, here this P, when P is 0, negation P is 1. So 1, 0, 0, 0, negation Q. If it is 0, then negation Q is 1. Here 0, 1, 0. Then what if we write negation P or negation Q? Negation P or negation Q is 0 when both are 0 and 1 when either P or Q is 1. So if you observe the final columns or the two columns of these two statements, negation P and Q and negation P or negation Q, both are the same. In that case, we say that negation P and Q is equivalent to negation P or negation Q. So that's the first statement here. And this is nothing but it's known as the De Morgan's law, and this law is going to be used in many situations. Anyway, that's these is the logically equivalent set of statements. In a similar way, all these expressions are logically equivalent statements. Negation P or Q is equivalent to negation P and negation Q. That's again another De Morgan's law. And third one, P, if and only if Q is equivalent to P then Q and Q then P. And P and Q or R is equivalent to P and Q or P and R. This is something like distributive law, and the last one is also a case of distributive law. You can prove all these expressions using or constructing the truth table. And before constructing the truth table, observe the principle of duality. If we have a compound statement S, which contains only two connectives and or, then we can obtain the dual of that statement by replacing the symbol and by or by and. So if we have a statement like P and Q, then if we replace and by or, that is P or Q is the dual. If it is the statement S, then it is our dual SD. So that's the simple method by which we can obtain the dual. This is possible for long statements like S1 is equal to P and Q or R. Then S1 dual is P and is replaced with or. Then this or is replaced with R. And so this is how we obtain the dual. Then the principle of duality says that uh, if S and T are equivalent statements, then their duals are also equivalent. Then by constructing the dual, if there is a tautology in the statement, that should be replaced with a fallacy and or contradiction, and a contradiction by tautology. So in our examples, there is no contradiction or fallacy. So if we have a statement like P and fallacy, then its dual is P or a tautology. So that is how we have to write the dual of a logical compound statement. Now, here we list down a number of logical laws. We can use these particular laws in our future calculations, and we can verify the validity of these logical laws um, using truth tables. The first one is law of double negation, which is an obvious one. Negation P is equal to P or is equivalent to P. Then the De Morgan's law, in which the first one is verified by us in our previous slide, and the second one is also another form of De Morgan's law. And observe one thing: the second law is nothing but the dual of the first one. The second one is obtained by interchanging and or replacing and with or and or with and. Then commutative laws, the operations and or are commutative, and by this time observe one thing: P biconditional, P if and only if Q and Q if and only if P are also commutative, but at the same time P then Q and Q then P are not the same, so it is not commutative uh, connective, or that connective is not commutative. Then associative, P and Q and R is equivalent to P and Q and R. So the order in which we calculate or we use the connective and or is immaterial. So in practical sense, we can freely write as P and Q and R, or P or Q or R. So no need to write or include any parentheses or brackets here. Just write down P and Q and R. And then distributive law, P or Q and R is equivalent to P or Q and P or R. So here we have to strictly put this parenthesis here. Otherwise, the implications will be not so obvious. And the second distributive law, P and Q or R is equivalent to P and Q or P and R. That is, that can be obtained by taking the dual of the first one. So there's another implication of dual principle. If the first law or the distributive law, first one in the distributive law is true, then obviously the second one is also true. Then idempotent law, P and P is equivalent to P and P or P is also equivalent to P. Then the identity laws, P and the tautology. P and the tautology is equivalent to P, and P or the contradiction, P or the contradiction is equivalent to P. So in the second case, say if you have statement P which is either true or false, and F naught is always false, then P or F naught is true, it is false. So it is this column is same as that of P, and therefore both have the same or both are equivalent. P or F naught is equal to P. So this is how we can verify the validity of all these laws. Then inverse laws, P and negation P is contradiction. P or negation P is a tautology. P and negation P is a contradiction, which means either P or negation P. It's obvious that both cannot be true at the same time, and therefore P and negation P is a contradiction. Then domination laws, P and the contradiction, P and F naught is equivalent to F naught, P or T naught is equivalent to T naught. Then the absorption laws, P and P or Q is equivalent to P, then P and P or Q is equivalent to P. Both are known as absorption laws, and you can check the validity of this absorption laws using truth tables. Then to check uh, the validity of a statement, the or we can replace the statement uh, using some other statements, or for simplification purpose, uh, while we analyze the truth value of a particular statement, we can replace some statements using an equivalent statements, and that the regulations or the rules regarding substitution is given as substitution rules. And the second one is much more important, so let us start with the second one. If P is a compound statement and small p is an arbitrary statement that appears in P, and Q is another statement which is equivalent to P, then we can replace P with Q in all some occurrence of P in the statement, and the resulting statements P1 is equivalent to P. For example, um, if you have a statement like P and R, or uh, yes, say, okay, let it be something, or yes and negation P. This will be the statement P. And we know that P is equivalent to another statement Q, a primitive statement or a compound statement. Then this is capital P and this is small p. Then we can obtain P1 by replacing P with Q, Q and R, or S and negation Q. Then this P1 and P, these two statements uh, are equivalent. And this is true even if we replace the first occurrence of P, replace the first occurrence of P by Q, and if we leave the second occurrence as it is. So if we don't replace negation Q, and if we write it as negation P itself, then also P1 is equivalent to P. That's the rule number 2. Then the first rule, if P is a compound statement and P is a tautology, and if small p is a primitive statement that appears in P, and if you replace all occurrence of P by the same statement, by some statement Q, then the resulting compound statement P1 is also a tautology. It's not same, it's some. So this means if we have a statement P which contains, say, an expression like P and negation, uh, okay, P or, that's a tautology, okay, uh, we just write down a tautology, P or negation P, it's a tautology. Then it's a tautology, obviously. And if you replace P by any other statements, say if arbitrary statement S or negation S, or if you write R or negation R, or if you write T or negation T, all these are tautologies. So technically, the symbol which we use is not a problem. A tautology, in a tautology, we can replace any of its compound statements uh, by some other statement. So that's the concept of substitution, and all these substitutions are all these concepts regarding the substitutions are going to be used in our uh, validity checking of an argument. So in our next section, we are going to check the validity of an argument. So how we can place an argument and how we can check the validity of an argument is something what we are going to discuss in our next session. And in that process of checking the validity of an argument, we are going to use all the results which we which we mentioned here, the laws of logic, like Adam-Patten law, inverse law, domination law, absorption law, commutative laws, associative laws, etc., are going to use in validity checking, and the substitution rules can also be used in that process of checking the validity of a statement. And these rules can be used to derive or simplify a compound statement into much simpler statement, or obtain um, statement from another statement by just replacing or simplifying the expression. So that kind of problems are to be addressed, and will be addressed in some other sessions. And for the time being, that's enough. And thank you.